Hey, Captain Rick, Johnson, it's Eric. I was incarcerated a couple years ago, and I had an adult case. I was in Unit Tango. Well, when I was in Unit Alpha for a month first, and you brought me out a Bible, and you got me hooked up with this lady, Miss Kit, and then I left Unit Tango, and you let her keep visiting me, and you visit me often, and one of my roommates just wanted to call, said I'm almost off my 3 years of probation. I have 3 more months. I've been speaking at a couple of churches and just talking about how God changed my life in jail, and you guys are a big part of my testimony. You and Miss Kit. I just wanted to see if we, just try to reach out and say thanks and see if we could talk sometime, man. You know, I'm doing good now. Well, thanks for everything, and you guys' ministry is awesome, and thanks, yeah.
January, I got a phone call from a young man that used to be in juvenile hall. He was arrested at age 15. Erick called and says, you know what, I'm almost off probation, and can we meet, and you can help me, and he wanted to get back in touch. So we met that day. And then the next week, I picked him up at his apartment, and I stepped in the door, and his bedroom was right there, and I looked over, and I saw this huge mural. I said, wow, did you do that? He said, well, I paint and I help out once in a while. But no, my friend did that. And I said, do you have any friends that, do this? That I explained what I saw on YouTube. He goes, yeah, I know someone that does that. You do? Do you have his number? Yeah, it's right here. And I called up John, and he was gracious to last night we're in Joplin and be here tonight just to share his talent and his abilities. And so John is going to be sharing here some artwork, and you're going to be looking at it, and he'll explain that, right? Yeah. So let's welcome John Garcia.
Thank you again. My name is John. I just want to share a little story about myself and how I got to be where the point I am now. Long story short, I grew up in a home where my pops wasn't really, art wasn't a thing to do. Art was, unless you are Michelangelo or somebody who's super talented. My dad's like, he didn't really care for me, so I grew up mad, I grew up angry. So, but in my entire life, going through high school, going through everything, I wanted somebody to just say, you know what you do with art is pretty cool, and a good high five, anything. I wanted something because, I wanted people to see that I somewhat have of a talent of even drawing. So I came to about senior year in high school, I was like, what's the worst that could happen? So I started, a couple of friends of mine were like, hey, we're going to church, and they actually paint at church. And I was like, no, that's not possible. You don't do that at church. You go, it's boring, you read, you take a nap, whatever. He's like, no, dude, you actually paint. You paint when the pastor when they're singing, you paint. I'm like, that's kind of cool. I like doing that. He didn't know that. So he actually said, hey, there's this Jesus guy. He's pretty cool. He told me the entire story of what you guys just heard, and I said yes. That's all I did. I said yes. I said, you know what? I don't know what this means. I don't know how I can use my art and my talent, but I said yes. And then since then, he's turned my life around. I can actually smile again. I can actually, just show love and grace through my art, which I wouldn't have never imagined. Imagine if you were to say yes to God and Jesus and where he can take that. I took the step and I said, you know what, God, I'm going to say yes. Once again, super happy to be here, so enjoy.
Beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of us.
story of my life. I pretty much grew up with a single mom. I started doing drugs at a young age. I was smoking weed by the time I was 12. When I got into 10th grade, around that time, things were getting worse for me. We had lost our house as a family, and we were living in a small apartment with just my whole family in there. By that time, I was trying to search God, and I was trying meth and coke for my first time around that time, and I just didn't really understand where God was or what He had for me. And I started searching Him for my first time, because meth was a drug I said I'd never do. Soon after I started doing meth, my life just went straight downhill. Started hanging out with anybody I could. I just didn't want to be home. I wouldn't go to sleep, so I'd stay out in the streets late at night, 3 in the morning, and I would try to pray. Every time I did drugs, I'd pray, or I'd run away from the people I'd do it. Like, I randomly start kind of running, and I was just kind of running for myself at the same time, because I'll still get high. Soon after that, I got arrested. We had a little fight. It was gang related, and my friend actually passed away in that fight. I was 15 years old. After that, I just fell into depression and going to jail for it. I went into jail for it, and I had a couple felonies on my record. I was put in lockdown. I was really confused. Week after being in juvie, it was right before my 16th birthday, so I had been there for a while. I had been praying every night, like for my family, for myself, for freedom kind of deal, but I hadn't really prayed for a personal relationship with Christ yet until I came into the Protestant ministry. I remember my first service, one of the ladies there just mentioned a Psalm 51, God making you white as snow. And I started reading through the Bible, and she read to me Matthew as well, where Jesus talks about we have a yoke that's too heavy for us, and He'll help us with our burdens. And I just didn't really understand Scripture at that time. And she explained it to me, and she explained to me about how guilt and how sin will give us that guilt. And I was like, God, if this is true, if sin gives me guilt, wash it away. If I have a yoke on me that's not right for me, give me yours. And I just prayed what I read, strictly what I read in the Bible, what I just had learned. And I had only been in one Bible study so far, and it took one prayer, and I hit my knees, and I just started praying, and I don't even remember what I even finished that prayer on. I just remember that I legitimately started feeling this weight being lifted off my shoulders, and that's when I understood, wow, this stuff's true. Scripture came to life to me, because what I experienced was the sin being lifted off my shoulders, the weight being lifted off my shoulders, and that's when I recognized Scripture as truths, because it was happening to me, and I started to feel free. I didn't understand it. I had only been in jail for a week. In juvenile hall. I still had months, maybe years to go. I had felonies for as far as I knew. I was gonna be there for the next couple of years, and I felt more free than I ever had. I remember after that, I was happy. I just felt so free, and I actually told someone from the ministry, like, I think I may be going a little crazy, because I feel free, and I'm anything but free right now. I'm actually in lockdown. I'm not just in juvenile hall. And she told me that's the freedom you'd experience from Christ. And she started reading to me Scripture about freedom. And that made sense to me, and that was coming to life. And then soon after that, I got my own Bible. The ministry provided me with the Bible, and I remember starting to read it, and everything was just coming to life along me. And I got to the parts where now Jesus has a plan for you. And I was just kind of like, God, okay, everything I've read in here is true, but now it's like talking about you have a plan for me. How does that look? There was times while I was in there that my lawyers would tell me, you're going to get released. And I was just kind of, God, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this. I'm not sure if I'm ready to go back to the world. I still feel like I need to get discipled more. I still feel like I need to learn here more, because I'm getting this one-on-one I was getting this, like, such a one-on-one with Christ that I wasn't in a hurry to get out sometimes. Getting to read Scriptures and getting to get taught in that kind of way was so pleasing. And he was coming to life so much that I wasn't in a hurry to get out sometimes. I prayed to him. I told him, don't let me out until I'm ready. And when I got out, I was definitely ready. He had me prepared. I just came back to a different atmosphere. He had renewed my mind completely. I had a whole new purpose for living, and I didn't quite know what it was. I just knew it was about God. I just knew it was like the things I read. So I had guidelines, but I didn't quite know. And now, I came out with a couple felonies. I had to plead guilty. I had 8 years hanging over my head. If I went back to jail, I had to serve those 8 years, and I had 3 years of probation. I just finished those 3 years of probation, and God just keeps working. And as seasons come, he keeps giving me other stuff. I've gotten opportunities to share at churches. I've gotten opportunities to keep learning. Now, I have a couple mentors. And when I finally found a church home after being out, I started coming with a couple of friends. And I started coming with one at first. And soon after that, people couldn't believe that, Erick, our friend, everybody called me Shorty. So Shorty, our friend, is going to church now every week. What's going on? And people didn't believe me. So I told them, if you don't believe me, why don't you come with me next Sunday? And I started bringing other people to church with me, and he started introducing me to people here. And I just got a favor here, and just my circle, just kind of social circles expanded, and I started getting to help out and just be a part of a church home and get experience fellowship. And it was just another area of my life where Scripture came alive once more.